folks, let's take a quick preview of what we're going to be doing on our class tonight, which is May 30th, Friday, our second day of addressing the JSON way of storing data and the MongoDB database, which works with JSON. So there's code is going to be here in a GitHub I'll kick out. So we're going to work with the college enrollment system. And there's some seed data like we did with the flower database yesterday. Some of you had some issues getting MongoDB Compass up and running, so there's just a little program you can test that your connection's working properly. And let's go and take a look now at the college enrollment system. So of course you have to install your NPM packages. You're going to need NodeMon, Express, and Mongoose, so make sure you've got those up and going. And once they're going, just run it as usual. All right, so we should be good to go in terms of viewing our application right there. So let's go and hit that in the browser. So now we see we have some data from our seed data. So you can see your courses and you can see your enrollments. Now, what we're going to find out, so yesterday we started to study this issue of CRUD. What are the two basic things a database does? Create, read, update, delete, so you can create and manipulate data, and you can also make predicate joins between collections. Right, so in JSON, a document is the basic elementary unit of data equivalent to a row set in a SQL table. Right, so we have tables which correspond to collections in JSON, because a collection is many JSON documents, just like a table is many row sets. So we have JSON document contained in collections and collections contained in database. So here we have a collection for enrollments, and we have a collection for courses, and we have a collection for students. So we're going to illustrate the basic CRUD stuff here, right? So maybe delete a student. So maybe Carol wanted to go to Hawaii or something and live her life over there. Now, one thing you're going to note here, the code is going to preserve referential integrity in JSON, which in SQL we get that from the primary key, foreign key relationship. In JSON, you have to do some programming stuff with Mongoose to make that happen. So I'm trying to delete Carol, so I can edit Carol, right? So we can edit. So now Carol is updated. But if I'm trying to delete, not deleting. Why? Because Carol must be getting held onto somewhere else. Just like in SQL, row set can be held onto because it has a foreign key relationship with another table. So if Carol's not deleted now, I mean, we could go and put some notification here. Maybe we'll try doing that extension in class. But basically, Carol is in an enrollment, so the system's not letting her get deleted. Why? Because you can go and read about the details here. We just talk about this issue that you do not want to let your database delete a record which is being referenced somewhere else. It could lead to data orphaning, right? The college might have a legal requirement to preserve a student's enrollment history, even if student withdraws or so on. So we're going to see that there's also ways to do soft delete, which is you can just make a field in your JSON document and just say, students deleted, but the record is still there. But if we want to demonstrate the CRUD function of delete, we can go and find where Carol is and just get rid of her from enrollment. So let's go and look at enrollments. And Carol must be here somewhere. There she is. Actually, she's quite an active student. So an enrollment is a connection between a course and a student, exactly like in SQL. So if I remove Carol's enrollments, I should then be able to, I feel badly for her. I don't know what happened. She was obviously quite an active student here, but Hopefully she's going and studying somewhere else. Nice. So anyway, now we can probably go and delete Carol. So let's give that a spin. All right, so students, and now Carol is deleted, and we're demonstrating referential integrity, which is quite critical. So this will demonstrate editing, deleting, creating. And you could also try extending this maybe to associate an instructor with a course, right? I'll leave it to you to do that by yourself. Whoops, my dog. All right, so K9, 1, 2, 3. And also, if you don't follow the prescribed pattern, and we're going to see how the schema enforces the fields to be, the correct pattern that it wants it to be. So here, when we try to save, it's going to say, please match the required format. We'll see how that happens. So it wants a letter and 5 numbers. Oh, it's still not. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not correct. We can go and check the schema. Maybe I made that to be exactly an S. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Ah, so there. Duplicate key collection error. Anyway, where's Peanut going? Duplicate key. Oh, maybe I already have that key somewhere. All right, let's try something else here. Now, again, this is not a production-ready app in a total sense. I wanted to keep it relatively simple to illustrate CRUD and predicate joins between collections, which in JSON MongoDB we do with the aggregation pipeline. So I simplified certain factors. Obviously, if you were going to do something for a production grade system, you would want to have more levels of checks. Maybe you would want to, I don't know, give the user more clues as to what they're supposed to do and so on. Yeah, so I guess before, now that would have probably been a good example. You could give the user a pop-up to let them indicate or to indicate that that student ID was already being used somewhere else. But now Peanut is here happily studying his program, except he decides full stack isn't his thing. He wants to get into mobile, so we can go and edit him there. So anyway, that's pretty cool, I think, right? We have students, we have courses. Right, so you can go and create courses, then you could assign students to it. And let's say later we realize that oh, something else you could do, maybe we'll get to it later tonight. You could in the table have it so you could click on that table header and sort it by, title or course code or so on. That would probably be like a little simple introduction we could do. Then maybe we want to edit the course. Departmental chair has asked for some changes. So students are taught the basis of DevOps and CI/CD pipelines. And then when we go back, we find that that change is still persisting because it's stored in the database. All right, what else do I have to show you here? Okay, let's do an enrollment, maybe our new course that we just set up. So we're going to get student Peanut, and we're going to put him in our new course. And he's a pretty smart dog, so maybe he got an A on that. And so on. Right, so there's Peanut's status in 3304. All right, guys, so that's what we're going to do. So in tonight's class, we're going to start it where we left off last night. We're going to do drills, sort of standalone drills on create, read, update, delete, and then connecting collections using the aggregation pipeline. And then we're going to build up to this, which is a pretty good real world example of how you would front end a database with a Express server. So we'll see you in class at 6 o'clock. Bye.